Hi, everybody. It's Kathy and Colleen, and we're here with Empowered Voices podcast. If you haven't been able to connect with us up until now, Empowered Voices is just about two intuitive, psychic, mediumship. We'll both introduce ourselves a little bit, but just getting together as real gals, gal pals, just having a conversation about the energy, life, trying to answer some of your questions. If you guys want to send them in, please do. We'd be more than happy to answer questions for you as to what's going on, how can I, those kinds of things. Because I seem to be finding that a lot in the clients that are coming to me, which is a little bit about what we're going to talk about today. So, my name is Kathy Munson. I am the owner of Voices of Enlightenment. You can find me by Kathy Munson. You can also find me as Intuitive Cat, cat spelt with a K. My website is intuitivecat.com. I own a new business called Voices of Enlightenment, still working on the website. And of course, we have Empowered Voices, and Colleen and I tend to do readings together. We do cards and coffee once a month. I am a psychic medium and a Reiki master teacher, multidimensional healer, past life regressionist. Yeah, I do a lot. So just to give you, I'm trying to just keep it brief. And I'm just going to pass it to Colleen so that she can introduce so we can get chatting about what we want to chat about.
Well, hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to our podcast. My name is Colleen Lemma, and I am an intuitive reader, healer, and teacher. I do a lot of similar things that Kathy does. We do have a couple of differences, but I teach a lot of different things as Kathy does in the metaphysical spiritual field. I am a Reiki master, certified hypnotherapist. I do past life regression and all of that wonderful stuff through hypnotherapy. And as an intuitive reader, I use the Akashic Records, I use tarot divination cards, I'm a professional astrologer, I read name vibration and the clairs, connecting with people's angels and guides to bring forth information. So you can find my website at colleenlemma.com. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook under Colleen Lemma. You can find my YouTube channel under Colleen Lemma. And then the one thing that's different is to find me on Meetup, which is under Sacred Soul Empowerment. So, Kathy and I are really excited to talk to you today. We'll see what flows, what comes, what we're guided towards. I guess I'll pass it over to you, Kathy.
Absolutely. So it's funny because I'm going to kind of pass it back to you for a minute because, with everything going on this year in the universe and what's happening, I want to kind of get a little down and dirty with, like just what you and I are seeing in our own lives as far as ourselves personally, clients that are coming to us. I tend to learn a lot through the clients, the trajectory of clients that come at the same time. There's always this, and it's one of the things that I try to stay very aware of is the line of connection between all of them, because they always have a line of connection between all of them. I always think to myself, I could just get you all in a group. That would be great. Because then we could just talk about like they'd be able to feel like they're not alone because we know that we're not alone and everything that's going on. And I think that's a lot of what came from creating Empowered Voices is to let people know we go through things just like y'all are going through things. It's just I never really have heard anyone really talk about it. And how can I do the best to get myself through that? And that's a lot of where I think our conversation needs to go today is the energy is getting really tough. And that's Colleen's forte. So I will let her talk to you about that and give us like the astrological pinpoint of what's going on right now.
Well, thanks, Kathy. And I think you're just as tuned into the energy, just in a different way, right?
Absolutely.
I just look at the astrology of what's happening, and I have that benefit of saying, oh yeah, that's why I felt that way, or that's why I've got people that are coming to me that are experiencing that circumstance or situation. But we started out the month of May here with a very powerful and potent full moon in Scorpio. And yes, every month we have a full moon. But Scorpio has an interesting energy because it digs down deep beneath the surface of what's hidden, especially of what's hidden in our own psyche and subconscious. But yes, what's hidden beneath the surface of what's going on in the collective as well. And it wants to kind of dig it up and root it out and bring it out into the open. That's Scorpio. And this particular full moon was made even more powerful, more intense because the ruler of Scorpio is planet Pluto, and Pluto also just days after that full moon, it turned directions. It went from its normal direct motion to a retrograde motion, which whenever a planet turns either retrograde or direct in astrology, it intensifies and magnifies the energy of what that planet is all about. And since Pluto rules Scorpio, it has a lot to do with the similar things. It's about death and rebirth and transformation and regeneration and power and control, disempowerment versus empowerment. It deals with transmuting, again, these old stories or hidden energies or situations, and looking at the, some of the dark shadow side of Pluto, manipulations and abuse and obsessions and things that are repressed. And I know that's pretty heavy stuff, but I am myself very empathic, like Kathy is. And in this last week, between that full moon and Pluto shifting directions, my body was like really purging something. I don't know what it was, but like my whole left eye became inflamed and red, and blisters were forming, and I still have this little puffiness on my cheek. And I was feeling like off in my stomach, and I was very fatigued and tired. So there was a clearing and a purging. Like Pluto was digging down deep in there, and I might not consciously have all the answers as to what it was about. I'm sure it was past life, this life, any area where I disempowered myself. Pluto was kind of dredging it up so that it could be transformed and transmuted and released and let go, so that I could take my power back from whatever that was about. And even people that are close to me, I might not mention too many specifics, but a friend of mine, she had something explode with one of her family members recently that was very deep about subjects that are like taboo. And my own sister and mother also had experiences in this last week that have been pretty heavy and transforming and whatnot. So, that's a little bit about the astrology of what we're going through. And I just, seeing clients like Kathy, I'm sure, seeing clients come to you where, there's a previous disempowering pattern that they're living out or living through. It's not the first time, that this is kind of reared up. And here it is again, very much intensified and magnified because we're having the chance to clear it. When these
Hmm.
heavier energies come in, it's not like, oh, doomsday, oh my gosh, what's happening? It's giving us that opportunity to clear, release, let go, purge, and transmute of lower, heavy, disempowering energies that we no longer need to carry because we are evolving. The collective is evolving. The planet itself is evolving. So we're needing to peel away these shadow layers because Pluto and Scorpio deal with the shadow
Right.
side of our nature, the shadow side of humanity. And we're peeling that away so that we can move into a higher, lighter, brighter space so we can transmute and reform or rebuild, if you wish, the collective experience as well as our own personal experience.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And it's so I'm just going to say I noticed my screen keeps zooming in and out, so I apologize for that. I kind of actually think it's funny. But going on what you're saying, it's a lot of I truly find that we're doing a lot through our own body processing because that's what it feels like. So there's days that you're like, wow, I could like lift a car off somebody. And then you're having days that I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted. There's no reason why I'm exhausted. I'm just really, really, really tired. I'm really drained. And then thinking that if you're trying to make a choice at that moment in that process, there's this I don't know where I want to go. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know who I am. Like, am I on the right path? Am I doing the right thing? Am I going in the right direction? There's all of this alignment because we keep talking about raising our vibration and our alignment. You know, and I'm just going to say some days it feels like we're blowing sunshine up your hoo-ha because I'm just going to say that. But in reality, it's a lot of what we're going through. But a lot of times people don't know what does that mean? Like, what does that mean? I'm a big one for now, like looking at things and trying to dissect it so that I can explain it to people to try to help them get through things, and myself included. Because Lord knows I'm trying to do it on my own, trying to figure out, okay, why am I feeling like this? why are the birds all cawing at me today? Because I'm a big one for noticing not just myself, but the signs around me. Like I walk out of the house and the crows are caw, 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 caw. And I'm like, I hear you. Like, what do you want? Those kinds of things. I've been seeing flashes of yellow. Like we have this yellow bird. I think it's an evening grosbeak, I think is the type of bird. It's my mom. My mom and the bird training, like it all came from her. So I'm doing my best to remember. But I literally was, when Colleen and I got together to talk a little bit about what we were going to talk about, I didn't tell her this, but there was a yellow butterfly that was like dee, 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 dee by the window. And I was like, okay, what's up with this flash of yellow? Like now I'm seeing yellow things. But it's a, that was kind of a validation, as I feel it was a validation telling us, like, yeah, that's what you should talk about because that's a good idea of what you should talk about. And I think it's funny she has butterflies behind her as well.
I was going to say, I know I have green butterflies behind me, but
Green
I
ones.
too, yesterday or the day before, I saw this great, big, beautiful yellow butterfly.
Ah,
Well, flying through the parking lot or something wherever I was. And you thinking about the color yellow, that is the color of the solar plexus chakra. And that
exactly.
is our center of personal power. And
Right.
that's what Pluto and Scorpio rules is our personal power. So that's an interesting connection.
Yeah, that's funny. And I go into, well, what does yellow mean to me? Like, of course, I know the chakra, I get that. But yellow is also about sunshine. It's about happier days, brighter times. Like, that's a lot of what I was getting is like, you're going to make it through this. Like, just keep getting through this because it's going to turn around to where it's all going to make sense. It's sort of like those mystery movies that you watch where you're like, who did it? What's going to happen? Oh my gosh, this one's really got me going. Like, there's not too many that can do that, I'll be honest. But there's a few that you're kind of like, let's see what happens. And then gets to the end, you're like, oh, I totally get it now. Like, I totally understand what they were trying to do. Those kinds of things. That's a little really what I feel like we're waiting for. We're waiting
Right.
for that part of the movie when we can get to the movie and say, okay, now I understand what we're going through. And I will tell you, because we're talking about releasing things physically, that doesn't mean that you still don't go and get checked, because I'm a big one for let's just validate that they don't know what it
Absolutely.
is or that they can't find what it is,
Right.
because you don't want to take a chance. Clearly in this universe you don't want to take a chance. You want to make sure that you're healthy to survive all of this. So there is that part too. So I want to make sure that we all understand that.
Hmm.
And then, because we all love to self-diagnose ourselves, because I will also say that, but again, it's a lot of, and I've heard a lot of like rashes, swelling, things like that happening as well. A lot of things with people, like a lot of transition. Like there's been in my circle, there's been a lot of animals transitioning. There's
Yeah.
been people that young people, like people that, when you think of people passing, you usually think like 70s or later. In some ways it makes sense, that they would pass. I'm not saying that it ever makes sense when somebody passes, so I'll say that too. But I've heard of a lot of younger people passing to where you're
Hmm.
like, I don't understand that.
Right.
Like why? But again, it's not for us to understand. I kind of look at it like they just couldn't stay. Like for whatever reason, we needed them there to help us more than we needed them here to help us.
Sometimes
And
I
same
feel
thing with
that
the
way
animals.
because there's been I won't mention who, but a prominent ufologist scientist, that recently it is gone now, very mysterious kind of circumstances, which is kind of a Pluto thing too, a Scorpio thing, but I feel like that person's higher self knew they could do more good on the other side because they were very young. I think they were 40 something. And it was very
Wow.
shocking and surprising to people. And people are still talking about it and wondering what really happened. Why did it really happen? Is there
Right.
something else going on? Um, but I do think that his soul is like, okay, I can help us along on a collective level much more if I'm on the other side.
Right.
That's what I feel like it comes down to.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, with all of these things going on, and when animals pass, when it comes their time to pass, because I don't want to just like zip past that. I know that animals are truly connected to us. I know that they are here to help us. A lot of our animals, as you probably just heard my dogs barking in the background, they're connected with us to help us to go. It's almost like we become teams in some way. And I have heard, it's funny, I just pointed this out to a woman that I know that one of her animals she has pneumonia, so I'm just going to say that she has been diagnosed with pneumonia, and her animal is having issues breathing, and I'm like
Wow.
trying to help you. And she said to me, but not my animal, my husband's animal. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, you may think that that animal is your husband's animal, but I truly think you're more connected to that animal than you think you are. And not meaning that her husband's not. But
Right.
again, if they're passing from things that we may have had or may have had an issue with, because I've seen it in my own personal life, as far as animals passing with, my mom and my dad and my mom's dog are like the best story, because the dog took on my father's diagnosis and ended up passing from that diagnosis.
Wow.
So again, it's like you see it so clearly. So it's their time. And it could be that they can't walk any further with us. They've done what they were supposed to do here, and it was their time to go so you could walk forward for yourself. So there's that part of it too, because there's such bigger things happening than we ever could possibly think or see happening.
I
And what we
absolutely
need to do is
agree.
try to keep ourselves in the most positive state that we possibly can. And so it's constantly putting ourselves in that space of, I need to put myself first. I need to figure out what's going on with me, and then I can help everybody else. It's sort of like the analogy of the airplane. Put the mask on you first before you put the mask on somebody else. Otherwise, they're never going to receive the mask if you do that, if
Exactly.
you think of it that way.
Right.
It's the same thing, is that it is our time to truly, our stuff is our stuff. And projecting that onto somebody else. I'm not saying that every day is perfection. There is no such thing as perfection, first of all. It's just us trying to get through to the very best of our ability and being aware to say, hey, you know what? I really didn't mean to just like blast at you. I'm like forever apologizing to my children. Like, I'm so sorry. Didn't mean for that to happen. Let's just rewind that. Let me take that back, because I just need a minute and then I'll be able to answer your question or help you or whatever it is that's happening.
Right.
But being able to be aware, like just that aware of, I'm not ready to talk about that yet. I'm not ready to be able to help you yet. If you're in that state, like just being the most real you possibly can be. And I know for myself, when I think of appointments that I do for people, the most, and I will say this is probably my own energy that I put into it. So I'll just say that right up front as well. To do mediumship for me is such a heart space for me to be, not hard, heart centered space for me to be. If I am not at my best, that's always the appointment I will reschedule, because I want to be the best tool I can be for the other side to channel through me for someone here. And so it's a lot of just really paying attention and saying, you know what, this is happening to me. I don't know why, but I need to just take a space. I need to, like, let's reschedule that. And Colleen and I rescheduled Empower Voices because I was just having a day. And I want, if I'm going to come and talk to you all, I want to be, as clear and as honest and as because that's what I want this to be,
Hmm.
is us just really telling the truth of where we are and how can we get through this. And so there's a thank you for that validation. I don't even know if you can hear her, but I have a guinea pig that's like squeaking and squeaking in the same room as me. Which she just found her little squeaker, so that kind of makes me happy in a whole nother way. But and wouldn't it be funny? It would be happening during Empowered Voices. So yet another kind of sign of what we're doing. So Colleen, tell me. So let's talk about, how can we help? Like, what are some of the things that you do for yourself to either shift your energy, get yourself back
Mm.
into, sort of some presence of you, some normalcy of you?
Well, actually, speaking of this past week and just feeling fatigued and having all this stuff going on with my physical body, I actually had yesterday, talk about timing, but yesterday I had an energy session with someone. And it was, I don't know, like this combination of Reiki and sound healing, and I don't even know what else to call it, but it was just very unique and something that I hadn't experienced before. And I I left there feeling so good. Like I went in feeling like, oh, I'm so tired. I don't even feel like even getting in the vehicle and going there. Like I could have laid down in the middle of the day and, gone to sleep probably. But I went there. And when I left and then when I woke up this morning, like I feel a lot lighter. I feel the energetic, the whatever it was, film, the energetic film of a lower vibration. I feel like that has been removed. That's one thing is I would definitely, suggest going and getting some sort of energy healing, Reiki or massage or, something else. I love reflexology.
Mm.
Um, Going out into nature. I try to get out at least once a day, if the weather permits, to do a 30 to 60-minute walk. And I'm not always able to get like into nature, but I live close to nature. So if I have a little extra time, I will walk a trail, be surrounded by the trees. There's a body of water that's only about a half an hour walk away from me that I'll go to sometimes and just sit. And nature has this way of supporting us and clearing us and healing us. The elements are very healing. Um, Meditation. I mean, I did a good long meditation today. I mean, usually I do like a, quickie meditation or something, 5, 10 minutes, but I did like a half an hour today. And I definitely felt the energy vibrations coming in to clear and cleanse and align and support and whatnot. So, those are some of the things that I do. What about you?
Definitely some of the similar energy work always a good one for me. Whether I do it like with somebody who's long distance, which tends to be lately, that's what I've been doing is working with somebody long distance. But I'm telling you, it always helps. It always helps to realign me. It helps to get me back. It's one of the things that I love the most. If I'm ever going to pick a modality, like if anybody said you can only pick one thing, it's always going to be energy work for me. Always. It's just so much what I relate to and so much what does the most for me. So there's that. Sometimes just connecting with other friends, like just reaching out and saying, "Hey, how are you doing?"
Mm-hmm.
When you haven't heard from them in a while, even if it's a text at first, like, "Hey, let's get on the phone and chat. I want to see what you're up to, what you're doing, how things are going." Love being out in nature. Can't say I've gone walking per se, maybe a little walking. I'm trying to build myself up to that. But I definitely get out. I mean, I have woods that I'm looking at right now. I get out and just let the air just kind of like put my face to the sun and just let the air blow through because it's breezy here. So just let the air. I love that. Watching the animals, the birds that come to the feeders because we still have a little bit of food left in there. But yeah, just watching just everything, just the peace and quiet of where I live is just so beneficial to me. Like just to be out there and just sometimes I just come in here. I'm in the room that I have in my home. I just come in here and I'll just put on some music and just sit, be still, be quiet. I love movies too. Sometimes I'll let myself get transported by, watching something.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I have a lot of things there's a lot of different ways that I do it. I come in here and do card pulls. I'm like, oh, let's do a spread and see what's going on. Let's see what's happening for me. I don't do a lot of readings for myself. That's mostly what I do is I'm kind of like, let's just see what we get. Um, but things like that, things that
I
you
I love that
enjoy.
too, and I haven't done that for myself lately either. I used to, a long while ago, I used to do a reading for myself every month and then, jot down the important parts and put it on the wall to remind myself and just, time or whatever. It just, it takes a little bit of time. So I just kind of got away from doing that. But yeah, I love to do like a daily card pull or 3 cards or something, see what's going on. I think
Yeah, I'm always looking
that's
for decks of
fun.
cards because I do the 3 card spread. You know what I mean? So I'm always like, oh, I haven't touched this deck in a while. Let's pull this out. So I'm always like, oh, let's see what I get. Just to have fun. It's a fun thing for me.
Yeah,
I just enjoy it and I just keep it to myself. For me, I just keep it to myself because it's like, I don't know, it's just fun for
right.
me. Sometimes I like you finding a meditation on YouTube, or I'll go watch somebody do what I do on YouTube. Sometimes it's TikTok because I'll be honest, TikTok. I'm a scroller on TikTok. Watching people do what I do, I love to watch them. If you've stopped here, if you've stopped here, this is the card for you. And I love that the card was upside down. Oh, it's funny. It's the heart. It's Archangel.
Oh,
The
wow.
Archangel card, just show that seeing as I just blasted the Archangel Raphael. Healing card, which is a lot of what we're talking about.
Right,
You know what I mean? And it
exactly.
matches your butterflies because it's
It
green.
does.
It's
Archangel
green.
Michael's emerald green light for the heart.
So, helping yourselves in that way, getting to know your people, getting to know your spiritual team. It's a lot of what I'm being guided right now to teach is, who are my spirit guides? How can I communicate with them? Who are they? I'm doing an angel class. Again, I'm doing it here in person where I live, but I really need to start putting, yes, I know, I hear you. My guides are like, yes, you do. Like before I even got it out of my mouth, I need to be putting them online because I really think that we need as much help as we can. And if you're not used to connecting with your team or talking or like, I know somebody's up there. Everybody keeps telling me there's somebody up there listening to me, connecting with me, guiding me.
Right,
Again, if it's a tree, if it's your connection in your mind is your connection in your mind.
right,
But asking them to come and help you, give you peace, finding grace in others. It's the other thing too is I'm trying to not give opinions so much. It's so funny. I just watched the gala. I was watching the dresses because that's kind of a fun thing. Watching like what did they wear at the Met Gala. So it's kind of fascinating. I'm like, oh, why did she choose that? But it was, those kinds of things. But again, it's interesting how you try to get past the judgment and then the dress comes or the outfit comes walking and you're like, it's like, oh yeah.
I saw I saw a young man on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and he was definitely spoofing the dresses. Like he was
Oh,
putting
there
on
were
these
some that I was like,
big puffy like the weird things, and he was coming out, and he had the look on his face, and then he'd
well, it's
do
always
another dress.
I love it because it's so creative. It's always like, where will their mind go and how creative can they be?
Right.
So that's part why I mean, there was some that I was like, oh, that's stunning. Like I love that. And they were the interesting thing is I didn't know what the theme was this year, but and of course I can't remember technically what it was, but it was they were some of them had referenced like, oh, there's this painting by such and such, and we came up with this to kind of match the painting, which I was like,
Oh.
oh my
Mm.
gosh, that's amazing because my mother was an artist and going to the Boston Art Museum was like a big thing for me. Like I'll never forget the experience of standing in front of a Van Gogh painting that's like floor to ceiling, like massively huge. And I'm as close as I can get to that painting. I'll never ever forget this ever for as long as I live. And seeing his fingerprints in the paint, I started crying.
Wow.
And my mother's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, you can see his fingerprints in the paint. Like, that's so amazing. Like, I'm standing next to Van Gogh's painting. Like, it was like such a surreal feeling for me. And she's like, you might not be an artist, she says, but you got an artist's soul, is what she said to me. And I'm like, yeah, I guess. I was
Well,
just like, so
you are an artist, just not in that way. You're an artist because you
exactly.
sing, or you sang in the past, right?
I did. I
Yeah.
did. Yeah. It's just fascinating. Like art is just such a fascinating thing.
Well, th talking about art and talking about music and talking about the dresses that were created for the Met Gala, I mean, it's all about human experience, right? I mean, that's part of why we came here on this planet is to experience different aspects of life, different scenarios, different energies, situations, and creative inspiration. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
But it's also, when we're talking about things that can just like the simplest things can just be such an enlightenment in its own way. And that's a lot of what we're talking about right now is just finding those things and sort of, and to be honest, just embracing you. Like, so I didn't like what the person wore. I wasn't trashing them because they wore, I was just like, oh, what made them choose that? You know what I mean? So when it comes, it's funny because there are these, and I've said this from the beginning since I started on this path, it's everybody thinks we're spiritual and everybody thinks we're enlightened. And it's not that we aren't, but there are definitely everybody's different in their own way. Their spirituality is different in their own way. You know what I mean? Everybody does meditation in their own way. Some people can't even align with meditation.
Hmm.
I know I had a monkey mind. Guided meditation is what I love to do because I can find that I'll stay more connected to be able to do that. Some people like nothing to where there's just quiet and they sit for an hour and I'm like, how did you sit for an hour in pure silence? Like, it's just not my thing. But that doesn't mean I belittle them for doing what they're doing. I was amazed. Like, how did you
Right.
do that? Like, can you teach me
Right.
how to do that?
Right. If we could get out of the judgment of judging one another's choices or judging one another's religion or judging one another's creative expression or, whatever it is.
Right.
It's all our own unique energy signature that we're here as a unique soul to express. Why can't we just, accept that in one another and
Well, and here's the
respect it?
thing. Yeah, exactly. But here's the thing. If you are judging someone else in a negative way, then you need to turn around and look at yourself as to why is that bothering you so much? Because there's something, and I learned this years ago and I didn't like it when I learned it. And there are times that it still perks up and I'll be like, hmm, I guess I better look within myself and see why is this annoying me so much? Why is what this person's doing or this person annoys me? Why?
Right.
Why? Is there's got to be something in me that either was like that at some point, there's still a piece of it still in there, you know? And again, there are some things that I do say there are choices being made in our universe, and I'm not going to get too deep into this, that I will say are a really difficult thing to not have an opinion. So I will say that because there's always that as well. But then you have to pull yourself back and say, in order for us to align and go, our universe to go where it's meant to go, this needed to happen, right? To get
Hmm.
us moving, to get us going, to
Hmm.
get us shifting back to where we are meant to be. And that's love. Love, love, love. Love can outweigh everything. Love can change everything. And we'll never stop being creatures who love. There's not anybody, even if you think of the most evil person or who in your mind who could be the most evil person, there's love there somewhere. Might not be the same type of love that we would have or I would have, but it's there somewhere.
I think this is why being on a self-healing journey is so important, right? If we focus in on our own
Oh,
lessons or challenges or
that's the
insecurities
key.
or fears, and we're healing ourselves, then we're lightening our vibration, we're opening our heart chakra first and foremost towards ourselves, self-love,
Absolutely.
self-compassion, self-forgiveness. Then that can externalize out to be love, compassion, and forgiveness for other people,
Absolutely.
non-judgment. And if we could all, kind of get there, the world would be, and humanity would be a very different thing. It would be a very different energy. But yeah, it starts with the self.
And I think you just touched on the answer. The answer. The more we love ourselves, the more we find to love ourselves and not belittle ourselves for any choices that we make or have made or will make, the more we love ourselves, the less judgy we'll be with other people.
Easier said than done, I know. I
Absolutely.
mean, I can,
Oh, girl,
first and foremost say that. I
I can
mean,
say it. That's one of
like,
those things
oh,
like
if I
say it
if I
and
would
do
have
now.
made that decision, before I spent 10 years in this situation, that's judging yourself, that's beating up on yourself. You just got to say, well, I had an experience. What did I learn from that experience? How did it shift me? How did it
Absolutely.
change me? What
And
gifts did
forgive
I come into
yourself.
contact with?
Forgive yourself.
Hmm.
That's about loving because I always think to myself, like when I get into a touchy situation with myself, like I always joke and say, I'm standing at the ledge and say, okay, girl, step back from the ledge and now let's really look at this. It's always like, I'm going to jump. I'm done. Yeah, it's where my head goes for me, but I'll just say. But again, no pushing or prodding or poking or beating yourself up is ever going to get you anything. It's not going to get you to move anywhere because we are in a time to where it is spirit's time. And trust me, there is no literal time in this universe. I mean, I swear I just woke up 10 seconds ago. You know what I mean? But it's allowing yourself to say, I made mistakes. Let me learn from those mistakes. Let me try to not do that again, and that's all we can do. Like, we're in the human realm. If we were in the spiritual realm, well, first of all, we wouldn't have to deal with any of that,
Right.
because we're, up there, we're easy breezy lemon squeezy. but but here we're sent because we are meant to work on things. We are meant to go through the things that we've gone through. It's how we handle it, how we process, how we come out of it is the most important thing.
Right.
And it's not anybody else's job. What you've done or been through, I'm not saying as a child, if you were tortured or molested, or I'm not saying you chose that as a child. And I'm not saying, and trust me, you'll never forget it. But there is peace that can come inside yourself to be able to get past it. Doesn't mean you have to be besties with the person that did it if they're
Mm-mm.
still around you somewhere. Clearly not. But make peace with it within yourself, because when you walk away from something with that, you're the one that carries the dis-ease. They're like happy and lucky, going on with their life, doing whatever they are doing with themselves. They're not even thinking of you.
Right.
So it's you making peace with that,
Mm-hmm.
because any anger that you have is never going to do anything. It's not going to heal them. And that's a lot of what I think we look for, is we look to heal outside of ourselves, when really what we need to do is heal inside ourselves.
Right.
Because anything that could happen to us through this lifetime, trust me, I could tell you some stories. It doesn't define who I am. And I'll be honest, I would not be where I am and who I am today if it wasn't for everything that happened to me in the past.
Very true.
And it taught me so much, so much. And I will tell you, the best therapy for me, and trust me, I've been to a lot of therapists in my life, the best therapy was when I came on this path,
Absolutely.
because it taught me a lot about myself and continues to teach me a lot.
Absolutely.
So, and I'm not saying now everybody needs to sign up and be a holistic holistic practitioner.
Yeah, that doesn't
Not that
mean
we
you
won't
all have to
welcome you with
be,
open
yeah,
arms,
you all don't
but
have to be a psychic Reiki healer, practitioner or
no.
whatever, but it's just being on the path is just being on the path of your own self-discovery and self-healing,
And I will
however
say,
that
if
looks for
you
you.
have gifts, if you out there, well, I know you do. I don't need to look at you. I know you do. But those of you that are out there that think that you may have the psychic part or the healer part or the mediumship part,
Or the
like,
creative
reach out
part.
to us. You owe it to yourself. I told my son this. You owe it to yourself to know who you are. Then you can make a choice as to what you want to do with it. But ignoring it, closing it off, shutting it off, it doesn't help you to become who you are. It doesn't help you to truly get to know who you are and what you can do.
Hmm.
Now he's doing Reiki sessions for people. So,
That's
there's
amazing.
that. And they say
Absolutely.
he's pretty amazing. So he won't do one for me, which I'm like,
Really?
why not? I've done a lot on you.
Right?
Yeah, it's just kind of funny. But anyway, so if you are going through whatever you're going through and you feel like you're alone, you are not alone. You are not. And Colleen and I are here if all of you have questions, if you need to reach out. I mean, we are totally accessible, and that doesn't mean there always has to be a dollar sign behind any of that as well. At least on my part, and I truly feel like Colleen
Absolutely.
probably feels the same way.
Absolutely.
This is a time that we're here to really help people.
Hmm.
And so, don't hesitate to reach out. Please leave questions. If you want to know, if you want us to talk about something that you don't understand, something in the holistic realm, not personally, we're not doing readings. This is not about doing readings. You can connect with us privately to do that. But if you want to know about something in the field, something that you don't understand, maybe something going on in the universe that you don't understand as far as the holistic realm, by all means, we're here to help.
Absolutely.
And I hope you'll reach out and let us know, say hi, say thumbs up, thumbs down, hey, could you guys talk about this? You talk too long. If Kathi would just be quiet for a minute, maybe we could.
No. And how can they get a hold of us? How can they reach us?
Oh, yeah. So we are on YouTube as Empowered Voices. Colleen is also on YouTube by herself. I haven't done YouTube yet, but who knows? Um, we have Facebook personas. I have Kathi Munson on Facebook. I have Voices of Enlightenment Facebook page. My website is intuitivecat.com, cat spelled with a K. The this video will be on all of that. Well, clearly if you're watching it, you probably already have found it somewhere.
And don't we have a specific email address for
We do
the
have
podcast?
empoweredvoices11@gmail.com. Thank you, because I totally forgot about email. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. There's many, many ways you can reach out to us for sure.
Mhm.
So thank you all for joining in. I hope you enjoyed our convo for today. And until next month, who knows what we'll talk about then?
We'll see how life unfolds by then.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
everybody. It was wonderful to connect with all of you.
Absolutely. Be well, everybody. Till
Bye-bye.
next month.